Salve pessoal, beleza? Aqui é o Hafa, aqui direto dos estúdios da Vault Music. Hoje temos o grande prazer de apresentar, direto da Suécia. Cara, é um prazer enorme receber bandas de todos os lugares do mundo por aqui. Nós temos hoje Siena Root.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
To begin, I'd like to ask you, how did you guys join together? How did you guys meet? How did this started?
I met this guy many years ago, and we started talking about music and what do you like, what do you listen to, and stuff like that. And
When was it?
this was back in 1996.
Whoa, long time ago.
Long time ago. So I was joking when I said a few years ago. It was many years ago. Different time, different era of the world. Anyway, we talked about music, and we decided to meet to play together, and one thing led to the other, and here we are today.
And as I heard, it's the first time in Brazil, correct? But you've been planning to come here for a long time.
Yes, I've been talking to Felipe, our booker, since a few years now. But there was a COVID in between, and unfortunate circumstances that postponed everything. But we're so happy to be here now.
Any particular reason to choose Brazil?
I've always wanted to be here. Yeah, since I was a kid and learned to play samba, I thought like one day I'm gonna play in Rio, Sao Paulo. Yeah.
And everybody always writes, come to Brazil in the comment sections online. So we just listen to...
So you have a fan base here already.
We're so happy for them.
Grateful.
And how Zu?
Yeah.
No, I got it right?
Yeah.
And Zu, tell me about the story. How did you meet the guys?
Well, I moved to Stockholm about 10 years ago. And in Stockholm, there's a very rich blues music scene. And I started going out to blues jams, and I started meeting other musicians. And I knew of Siena Root beforehand, and I'd seen them play, but one of my favorite bands before also, actually. So I met Love a couple times at a different couple shows around in Stockholm, and at some point I started talking to Sam as well, and then they invited me to be a guest at a show about 7 years back, and after that, it's history.
How cool is that? So you're enjoying like 7 years like with the band now?
Well, I guess officially I joined the band 2019, so it's been 6 years, but first time I performed with Siena Root was back in 2018.
What about you, my friend?
I got a text from Sam who asked if I would be interested to come and to the rehearsal and try a few songs. So I'm not really sure how they found me, but it was nice because I didn't have any band or anything. So and we did some rehearsal, and then I also joined as a guest for a couple of shows.
So you always been a four guys member band?
No, not always. We've had a lineup that differed a lot. At one point in the early like 10th, how do you say it? 2010, around there, we did it completely as a hippie collective. How do you say it? We had a lot of guest musicians, and we've always had a lot of guest musicians along the way.
But I mean, the main formation you have, like with a keyboard player, an organ, and one guitar, bass, and drums, are usually change it.
No, but like for example, when we did the first album, A New Day Dawning, then we had this formation that our lead singer was the organ player. But then we ran the band as a trio for many years, and then we had like also formations with a lead singer and a separate organ player. So we've been like a 5-piece as the core band. So it's been moving, but I'm pretty glad that we're back to this formation now.
And Sweden is usually known, at least in here in Brazil, for the metal scene. We didn't know you have a 70s and a hard rock scene. It's huge as metal is, or how it works in there.
I mean, I would say it's a little bit more underground, and it's more of a combination of a lot of different genres. It's both the stoner scene and 70s rock or retro rock sort of exists in the semi joint space. I think by the end of the 2010s, there was also a big wave with Rival Sons coming out, and a lot of people looking sort of backwards in music history and trying to make music that's not necessarily centered around metal or heavy metal, but absolutely not at all as big of a scene as the metal scene. But it's alive for sure, and the psychedelic scene as well, and indie scene they kind of intertwine a little bit in Sweden, I would say.
I have to say, like back when we started out, there was no scene at all for this type of music.
So you build the scene.
That's why we have a song called Root Rock Pioneers, isn't it?
And how, explain us, how do you build the scene?
No, we didn't build the scene. I wouldn't say that, but I would definitely say that we were there before the scene, and saw it come and go, and the trends have shifted a lot over the years. But I remember very clearly, like when we did our first international tour, we had released our debut album on vinyl. And we were very, very keen on that, because I remember when we talked to our record label, we said, yeah, we're going to do CD, because that was what was back then, but we also have to do a vinyl. And they were like, but why, you guys, you can't do a vinyl? Why? Yeah, but a record has to be on vinyl. For us, that was the way it was. And this guy who had the label, he was very nice. He said, okay, guys, we're going to do vinyl. And then when we toured in Europe with it, everybody was like, what, do you have vinyl? So that vinyl explosion hadn't started back then either. It came later.
And you seem to be very conservative about your sound.
I like to say it like this, that we're not conservative at all when it comes to music, musical content, songwriting. Music is free, but the ways of producing music is not free. That's strictly limited to how it was done back in the day, from my point of view.
Limited to before the 80s, yes. To be specific, it's 69 till 74.
And who had the idea, hey man, maybe you two guys, but hey man, let's keep it the concept inside the 70s. That was a concern about you guys since the beginning.
I don't think it was exactly like that. I think we had our influences.
Which are?
A lot of stuff from the 60s and 70s. Many great bands. But I think what was the big thing for me was we wrote a few songs together back in 96 or 97, and we went to a studio. We were very young. We knew nothing about recording or anything, and we went to a studio to record these songs. And these guys, they were like, you know what? We have the newest technology. We have digital, and you can, because all our friends, when they did demos, they got home with a cassette. And he's like, I'm going to get you guys a CD. And we were like, yeah, we're going to get a CD. And we recorded everything into a computer. It was super fancy back then. And we didn't have any preferences back then. We were just like, okay, cool. But then when we went home and listened to this, it didn't sound like the old Black Sabbath records. It sounded like shit.
Okay.
And it could have had something to do with how we played also. But maybe. But in my mind, it was like, no, this is not working. We have to record like they did back in the day. Otherwise, it's going to sound like this. And from then on, this sort of ideology and also like how do you call, like research, this big research about how records were made back in the day started in at least in my mind, and I put a lot of time in researching how it was done and try to like go that path. Then if it had any impact or not, that's up to the listeners. But that's how the spark ignited about sound technology from the past.
Yeah.
So basically, you had a concept without knowing you had a concept.
Well, I can say that the concept was the common ground also from the beginning. We talked about, I listened to Red Hot Chili Peppers, and you listen to something like, new stuff also. But we had a common ground that we both like dig Black Sabbath, like the early stuff. Like it has something. And then we noticed pretty fast that many of the common records that we really liked were produced like in the early 70s. And this is something that we also have in common, all of us. So it's been a common ground rather than a concept. But the concept has developed through the years, yeah.
And what else? Where else you usually play? You do constantly tours in Europe. Where else? Asia or something like this?
Unfortunately, not yet. Central Europe has been the main market or main touring ground for us. And then, of course, Scandinavia, Northern Europe, and a lot of Southern Europe also, Spain and Italy. But I would say mainly Central Europe.
Guys, such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
E você fica ligado que essa session do Siena Root ficou muito, muito bacana, cara. Se liga lá no vídeo que ficou animal. Valeu!
Valeu!
Kiss FM. Não deixe o rock sair de você.